Hello, you two.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, I have a question for both of you.
Okay.
Okay.
Where are your top secret files?
I don't know if I'm supposed to tell that to
Snapchat?
No, don't tell them where they are.
Snapchat.
No, they're not on Snapchat. No.
They say they're on Snapchat. How does one get this Snapchat?
Download it from the App Store?
Okay, they said to download it if you didn't catch that one. Could you take me to the place to download the Snapchat, please?
Do you have a cell phone?
Why would you want to know?
Because that's the only way you can get the app.
Why are you giving away all our secrets to a dude who doesn't know what a cell phone is?
Can someone help me, please?
No.
Okay.
No,
well,
as one rebut, you already know too much. You already know too much.
No. I don't know anything.
I know. I can tell.
I'm just your friend from Snapchat.
you don't even have a phone.
How are you from an app that you don't know how to get?
That
That
was a trick question I asked you earlier. Yes.
Okay, so you are from the Snapchat.
I am actually the head of Snapchat. Yes, that's why I'm here at the Snapchat
all right.
headquarters.
That makes more sense. I didn't realize that. Thank you for calling, sir. Thank you for putting us through the test.
Yes, you're welcome. Can you please take me to now the top secret Snapchat area?
If you're the CEO, then you should know. Why
I was
we
in
have
an
to take
accident.
Okay, what is
help.
this about? What is this about?
Hello and welcome to the How Could You Forget podcast, which is a fun podcast where your hosts Gurdon, Eric, and Lexi, as well as occasional guests, including some random spy, come together and learn about a topic that maybe you'd forgotten about, never heard about, or it's simply too good to forget. This episode, you two and those at home, I have called so far, How Could You Forget Sneaky Little Guys?
Ooh.
Is what I have called this episode.
All right.
Let's go. I mean, you were really channeling sneaky little guy, I think.
Yeah.
I was the sneakiest little guy in
I
the
felt
intro,
like you were
absolutely.
trying to be somebody from a call center trying to hack my computer, so...
Well, no, but he was the head of Snapchat, though. I think he embodied the role really well.
Oh my goodness.
I was watching a YouTube video a couple weeks back that was talking about Breaking Bad, of all things. On Season 4, Episode 8...
Why would we break
aptly-
bad when we could build good?
That's
So true.
They should make
That's
a-
the moral to take from this episode.
Retweet if you cry every
They
time.
should make a follow-up called Break Good, where they...
Building
like,
building good.
Building good.
Building
Yes.
good, where Walter White gives back to his communities.
But the Season 4, Episode 8 is called Bug, and in that episode, a character walks over to a car and pulls a GPS tracking device from within the wheel well. They plug the small device into their laptop, and it's able to keep track of and see somebody's driving habits and basically act as what we would now know just as like a GPS tracker. But again, this was from like 2009, whenever, of course, Breaking Bad came out. And that made me kind of be like, how long have we had like spy things or like espionage type things, and like especially the fact that multiple people in the show just go and buy one from like not Walmart but basically Walmart to be able to track people.
Like some sort of store.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And that not only are you able to like actually track this, but like that these small devices are just powered off of a couple AA batteries. Like how crazy technology has gotten to the point that like I could go
Well, it's
put
kind of
one
like
on
AirTags.
yeah, like AirTags are even less. I think that's just a watch battery, I think, in those or something
Yeah.
similar.
Bugs could walk, so Apple AirTags could run.
I mean, you're not wrong. Yes. That's what I wrote here
That's
in my
it. That's the
outline.
summary of the whole episode. We're what, 6 minutes into recording? It's
All right,
perfect.
that was it. Thank you for
Wow.
watching the 3-minute long
Welcome
introduction.
to the speed run episode, actually. We tricked you.
Yeah. I love how the introduction is longer than the actual episode. That was really we're really forward thinking on this podcast.
We're
you know?
breaking new ground. Yes.
Adjusting the structure.
But
Okay,
Ah,
so
God.
you
Okay,
said
sorry, go
sneaky
on.
little guys. Is that you're going to
Yes.
be talking about like trackers or what? What's the sneaky little guy?
well,
Walter White?
Yes, he is the sneakiest little guy. In that video that they talked about how, like, again, you could buy these from Sky Mall, and then nowadays that there are like spy websites and stuff like that where you can buy these physical little devices and all of those things. But it got me thinking, and I wanted to ask both of you, did either of you live near or see one of those spy shops growing up? Or was that just a very unique situation for myself?
I think that was a unique situation for yourself.
Yeah,
I mean,
what is
I remember
a spy store?
Sometimes in like school, like, did y'all have Scholastic book fairs, or was that Canadian?
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. I was
Yes, we
gonna
did.
maybe do an episode about that.
We had
in the
those,
future.
and sometimes they would have little sections that were just like, spy gear things, or like a little like magazine that you could order like certain like gimmicky spy things from. Like, oh, here's like a little tiny little camera that's like
Night vision
144p quality on a good
goggles.
day, or
Here's a gun.
night vision goggles,
No.
or like a secret microphone, or guns didn't come until later, not till after I graduated, but
There you go.
Yeah.
yeah.
I bring this up because specifically when I went to college, I would drive past an actual spy store that was just straight up called like Spy Shack, like to and from my
Oh my
way to
goodness.
school.
It's like
every
Radio Shack,
single
but
day.
it's Spy Shack.
And like on the sign had this like, I think it was either a female in like a trench coat with like a spy hat and like sunglasses that was like,
Carmen Sandiego.
it might have been literally an image of Carmen Sandiego that they just colored differently, but like I remember driving past this and all this stuff, and like then after seeing this stuff about Breaking Bad, I was kind of like, well, hey, spies and by proxy sneaky little guys are very like, I don't know much about them, so I wanted to do an episode about it. And so then I went, okay, let me do some quick research, and like I was doing stuff and I just kept looking up spy gadgets, and it just kept giving me all of these like websites and stuff that are like, hey, do you want to bug your entire house? Here's where you can do that. And
That's
I'm like,
wild. I can't believe
Wow.
it didn't give you like the spy toys and stuff like that.
no. It's all
Wow.
like, hey, here's a, you want a Wi-Fi modem? You can literally get one that also acts as like a recording device with a camera and a microphone in it.
Oh my
Hey,
god.
do you want
Oh my
a
God.
pin? Here's a pin with a camera in it that you can leave around your house. Here's a radio that has a camera and a microphone in it. Here's a pair of glasses that have a microphone and a camera in it. Like, so
That's
much
gonna make
stuff.
me paranoid now.
It made me paranoid.
Oh my gosh. Like when I go to a hotel, I'm gonna be like, holy shit, is this clock a camera?
There was
Oh my
like,
gosh.
there was a whole bunch of these little things that are again like, it kept getting smaller and smaller. Like on one of the websites that I went to, the person that was doing it, that was selling it, was like, here's a bug that has a microphone that you can like put into this thing to like record audio. And like it started off like he was kind of holding it in his hand, but then like by the end he holds up like one finger and it's like smaller than his finger. And I was like,
Yeah.
bro, you can just buy this stuff.
That
and it's
actually-
like $60.
On a serious
Oh,
note,
gosh.
what little I know about this is I know that that's actually a huge problem in South Korea with hidden cameras, because hidden cameras keep getting, like you just mentioned, smaller and smaller and easier for people to put in places. And so that's a
Yes.
huge problem in South Korea, that people will bug these hotel rooms or these bathrooms or whatever. And it's majority crimes against women, of course. But yeah, it's wild. So I'm kind of surprised, but also not surprised. This might be like an American thing. Like, I don't think that there would be just a spy camera shop on the corner, probably in South Korea, because they know how bad it
Yeah.
is of people misusing that technology.
Absolutely.
But I
And
could be wrong. Anybody from South Korea, if
Yo, hit
you're
us.
listening, do they have spy stores in South Korea? We want to know.
Yeah.
I am curious now.
I'm right there with you guys. And like even along those same lines, these places would sell like bug trackers that you could then like, if you're in an Airbnb, for example, you can walk through with this like bug detector and it will like start freaking out if it can tell like a signal's coming from it or like something along those lines as
Oh.
well. And so like it
So to
sells
make
stuff
sure your
to-
room is not bugged.
Exactly. And
Yeah. Or at the very least, I guess it would just detect if there were like signals going from devices that you don't know were there, or that
Yeah.
are going into like some sort of closed circuit thing. Yeah.
Too bad there's
Absolutely.
no bed bug detector. That would be really useful.
That's called
I
your
would love that.
eyes. Just kidding.
Yeah. It's your eyes and
Gosh.
your like appendages when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
Why did I say I could just say limbs. Why did I say appendages?
Appendage. Eric's just feeling really smart today. Just appendages. Yeah.
I'm
Appendages.
genuous.
I'm He's verbose.
Phalanges.
Phalanges. But
I am full of verboses. All right.
I never went into this Spy Shack or Spy Gadget store myself. And also nowadays, like with things like you mentioned AirTags and how you can just like shove an AirTag into all sorts of stuff and it will like last for months or however long that these AirTags
Yeah.
last. That it's like, I wanted to know if there had been like much advancement in like spy technology. And I'm going to get to a little bit later, but when you look up like spy, like, so then I had to start looking up like historical spy stuff, and like a lot of it, as most people know, is very Cold War-esque of like this thing and then this and then this, and like, but any modern day like government spy stuff is like, of course, not talked about, because that would give away the whole game, and they're only going to tell about stuff that's like public knowledge, for example. But
or like outdated tech, I would believe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, stuff that's been declassified.
Exactly. But at the very start of the episode, after the amazing bit that is totally going to be a gut buster, trust me.
Totally.
I'm going to start the episode with a bang, with a game. So welcome to How Could You Forget Your Spy Equipment? Woo!
Woo! Great catchy title.
Let's go!
I'm going to describe to both of you, as well, of course, the audience at home, a spy gadget. And it's up to you two to determine if this futuristic spy technology is a real gadget that has either been used by real spies or like amateur sleuths, or if it's something made up for a movie, TV show, you name it. First come, first serve rules. So one of you buzz in. I might be a
little biased on this because I'm a huge James Bond.
Okay.
But watch me get it all wrong, because I've only ever seen spy movies and know nothing about spies in real life. So watch me be like, oh, totally real.
There you go.
It's like, oh, the shark laser isn't real? Damn.
Darn. Ow. The diamond teeth. But one of you will buzz in or just say like, ooh, that's got to be real. And of course, if you get it right, you get a point. If you get it wrong, the other person gets the point, because again, it's just real or not real. There's not going to be like, ooh, gotcha. And bonus points.
Wait, so if you get it wrong, the other person automatically gets a point. It's not just a dead point at the.
Well, I mean, yeah, because.
I mean, that kind of sucks.
But then don't get it wrong.
Well, because then if I'm not sure, I'm just not going to buzz in at all.
Okay, then fine. Both of you can answer.
Okay.
Either towards the beginning or towards the end, and then after you answer, then I will read through the entire thing and then tell you if it is real or not. Okay?
Okay, we can each give our answer of whether we think it's real or not real.
Yes. But
Yay.
Does that make sense? I didn't want to give away any of these items, whether they're used for legitimate purposes or not, before we actually started talking about spy stuff. Just wanted to get that out of the way. So let's start with number one. The first one I'm going to describe to you both. It is. It's the loneliest number as well. The first one I'm going to describe to you both is the wrist-mounted dart gun. The wrist-mounted dart gun is a device that's worn on the wrist, like a wristwatch, that holds 5 armor-piercing darts to take down armored adversaries, as well as 5 cyanide-coated darts that contain enough cyanide to take out a target within 30 seconds. The device is activated by a flip of the wrist and was created by the Secret Intelligence Service.
Okay, how soon do we get to like buzz in? Like, can we do it like during the description?
You can do it right now, sure.
I didn't ask about that. That's I'm gonna say, I want to say that that's real, because I don't know. I just feel like that, in like relative to like the more futuristic and wild stuff that they probably got cooking, I feel like that's a little bit more archaic, like just having a thing that shoots out darts. So I'd say that there is a possibility that it's real.
All right, and Lexi?
I'm gonna say not real, because this seems like something that could have a lot of user error. Like, if it's just activated by the flip of your wrist, but it's got cyanide darts in it, like, who's to say you don't flip it?
Dart at some kid.
Yeah,
like,
no, or yourself. What if you flip it the wrong way and it shoots out at yourself? So
you just jerk your arm suddenly and you get cyanide just injected.
I hope that maybe there's a more complicated way to activate this if it's real, but my guess is going to be not real, because I just feel like there's too much user error in this one.
Alrighty. Well, as far as I could tell online, this is a fake item as of now. Again, there might be some other form of it in the real world. But the wrist-mounted dart gun was a James Bond gadget in the film Moonraker, in which I
thought it was very James Bond. James Bond has a lot of watches.
He shoots off a metal armor-piercing dart into a machine to stop it from killing them, and then, of course, just shoots a guy with a cyanide dart. So, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, so Lexi has 1 point currently.
Ding, ding, ding.
Woo.
The second spy gadget I'm going to describe to you both are the seismic intruder detection devices. These devices were placed around confidential or top secret areas and would be disguised as mundane things such as sticks, rocks, or commonly animal dung that could detect movement up to 300 meters away. They were powered by tiny power cells and contained built-in antenna and transmitters that could relay information via coded messages. The reason for them to be disguised as things like animal dung is that other spies and trespassers are much less likely to expect or tamper with a piece of literal poop.
Gosh.
Is it stumping y'all?
Sorry,
Yeah.
Okay, buzzing in again.
Oh, all right.
I'm gonna say I feel like that's not real, because I feel like the intent. I don't know. I just feel like hiding it in like animal poop, right? It's like, obviously they aren't gonna like mess with it, but if you're in an area that maybe like people go through regularly, what if someone decides that they want to clean it up or like be a good Samaritan
Just sweep
or something,
away
right?
the poop.
they just steal the like spy gear, you know? Like, it doesn't feel like an effective way to do things.
Exactly.
Maybe I'm wild.
All right, Lexi.
I don't feel as strongly on this one as I did the last one, but I'm gonna just go against the grain. I'm gonna say maybe real, because the seismic thing is kind of throwing me off, but I could totally see how if you were like maybe outside, cause see, I'm struggling because like this could be something in just like Jurassic Park for Pete, but I also feel like it's not too advanced to where it wouldn't exist in real life. Like if you put these things down and you made like almost a map on the ground between all of these transmitters in a sense, and then if you see, you know, movement, you're like, oh, okay, that's a squirrel or that's a whatever. But then you'd be able to detect like, oh, this is a human being, like this is their weight or this matches their footsteps. So I don't feel very confident about it, but I'm gonna guess real.
All right,
Let's find out.
The seismic intruder detection devices were real and developed by the CIA during the Cold War, and they are also shown on display currently at the CIA Museum, specifically the one that looks like poop.
I'm doing so good.
Again, I don't know if Lexi just had a bit of
I had no idea about
think
that
so
one
either. But also, Eric,
the first one.
Let Lexi go first next time.
Yeah. That's gonna be the strat.
Well, no, see, that's the thing. Eric didn't change my answer. Those were my answers,
okay.
regardless of what he said.
Okay, I was gonna say,
So-
because the fact that I went first both times and then got it wrong.
No,
is-
the first one I was pretty sure, because James Bond has a lot of like wristwatch elements. The second one I was like, I don't know. This could be like literally sounds like Jurassic Park, or it could be real because it's not too advanced, you know? So
Yes.
Well, let's see what
All
the
right.
third one is.
So number 3. There are 7 of these, by the way, because I had a lot of fun.
Ooh.
The
Okay.
third spy gadget I wanted to talk about was the poison umbrella gun. It was an umbrella that could fire or also be used as a stabbing device to deliver a lethal dose of ricin poison to an unsuspecting victim with a pinprick by the end of the umbrella, or through the use of compressed air that would fire out the end and inject the deadly poison ricin into the victim. And before people ask, no, I did not include this one again because of the connection with ricin and Breaking Bad. That was a happy accident.
I
okay.
didn't know
So
there was
you're-
a connection between Rice and Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I can go first. Again, not too confident on this because I feel like while this could be literally a gadget that the Penguin would use in Batman, for the funnies, I'm just gonna say this is real because I think it would be so funny for there to be a compressed air can in the shaft of an umbrella. Again, the poison element is throwing me because I just according to my thoughts, like you don't really want random poison in things because that just sounds like a bad idea. But for this one, I'm just gonna say real because I think that would be funny to have just a can of compressed air, just you can like boom and like shoot something out of an umbrella. So
There you go.
That'd be cool. I'm glad you went with that because I'm gonna say not real. Because why would you carry around a poison
Yeah,
umbrella?
it
that's
doesn't
so
make any
unwieldy.
sense.
Just like hide a knife in your shoe or something. Like I just like you don't
Right.
need an umbrella for that. I don't know. I'm gonna say not real.
All right,
Locking
not
that
real.
in.
Lexi has it again.
oh my god.
The poison umbrella, or as it's more commonly known as, a Bulgarian umbrella, was a real spy weapon that was originally
Wow.
used and utilized by the KGB in the 19th...
What are the Bulgarians doing?
They assassinated a dude in 1978. That's what they did.
Wow.
The Bulgarian
Oh
leader,
my God.
Todor Zivakov, the then ruler of Bulgaria, was upset with a writer named Georgy Markov and had him assassinated on the Waterloo Bridge in London. He was apparently waiting at the bridge to get onto a bus when he reportedly felt a sting in the back of his thigh. And when he looked back, a man was picking up his umbrella off the ground behind him. He died 4 days later, and after his death, they removed the 1.7 millimeter bullet from his thigh and inspected it. No poison or ricin could be found in the small bullet, so technically there's no 100% proof that it was ricin. But the symptoms were that of ricin poisoning, and even if he were able to make it to the hospital as soon as he began to show symptoms, he still would have passed away, as ricin has no known cure, and especially no known cure back in the 70s. The Bulgarian umbrella was also used 10 days earlier in one other assassination attempt in Paris, but was unsuccessful. So, yes, that's crazy to me.
Bulgaria's hooked, actually. Oh my gosh.
Honestly, though, the fact that it went undetected for 4 days, that's diabolical. Like,
he thought that it was like a bug bite, I believe, from the research I did.
Wow. This is very illegal, is it not?
Oh, a poison dart gun that kills you? Yes.
Okay. I figured.
Imagine.
Absolutely.
Wow.
All right. Lexi is up 3-0. Eric, you got to get it here, but we're still going to do all these because I wrote all of them.
I still got it. I'm still in the game.
Here's that last one was a total guess.
Here's number 4. The jetpack aviation. It is described as the first personal VTOL aircraft that has been seen use in and out of spy environments. It boasts 6 small jet engines in a backpack that weigh 90 pounds. The user has hand grips with smaller jet engines in them to assist with rise, lift, speed, and yaw. That one's directly from the website. And the back engines are on a gimbal-like system to take the pressure and weight off the user's back and help stabilize in air. Heights of 10,000 feet are attainable for trained jetpack pilots. As stated on their website, anything past that would require oxygen and probably be very unsafe.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say... Why did I buzz that next? Okay, I'm going to say not real because I believed it. I thought it was real until you mentioned 10,000 feet. Because, like, there is no... Like, that's no way. No way could a jetpack get you up that high. I don't feel like the technology is there yet. Just, like, straight up. Like... Because, like, the amount of, like, thrust you would need and the amount of fuel you would have to use to get up there, like, that seems far-fetched. I don't think I believe that.
All right, Lexi.
I'm also going to say not real, but for a different reason, because I know that jetpack things are real and that they do have technology like that. But as far as it being a spy gadget, like, why would you use this as a spy gadget? It would be loud.
James Bond uses one.
Yeah, like, well, no, it feels very Mission Impossible. That's why I say not real, because...
Which people also consider a spy movie, Lexi.
Which, exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Farther away,
yes, I know that
farther away, I guess, then there's no noise, then it could work.
The game is real or not real, and so I'm saying, well, if it's in Mission Impossible, I don't really see a real world use where you'd be like, got a blast after you did something spy related. That just doesn't seem like it fits. So I'm going to say not real for the purposes of a spy gadget.
Also, it's literally called Mission Impossible, so it's impossible. It can't exist.
Oh my goodness.
All right. The jetpack aviation is a real jetpack device that is currently available.
But would you use it as a spy gadget?
I'm going to tell you, Lexi.
Okay.
You can currently take lessons over the course of 7 to 10 days on how to become a jetpack pilot directly from the producers of it for the small sum of $50,000 US. And as of recording this podcast about a month ago, the U.S. military, specifically DARPA and the Pentagon, are training soldiers and personnel on how to train and use jetpacks in combat drills.
Let's go!
Wow.
Jetpack fights.
Yeah, I just don't...
I'm not mad about that loss because I think I could still... Wait, no, I don't think I could technically win at this point.
I'm mad about it because it's like, why would you use this in an espionage situation?
Well, I mean, if you just needed to catch up, like, again, in Jetpack or in, like, James Bond, that's why I even tried to mention that, of, like, James Bond will just, like, throw on one and catch up to, like, a speeding plane or something.
I know that, but that's not real life.
Well,
what?
James Bond isn't real, Lexi?
No,
what?
He's not. Sorry.
Okay, well, here's number 5, then, to help you out of the jetpack slump. The 5th spy gadget I'd like to talk to you about is the Buddy Pack. a compact vertical assistance pack that allows personnel the ability of flight in a much smaller package than most other vertical assistance pack. The Buddy Pack is a slick metallic pack that was created by Isidore Cortez, and it's described as looking like a robot, and even allows children the possibility to fly.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
either
me.
one
Wanna
is
go first?
This
Do you
is
wanna go first?
Buzz, not real.
okay.
I will not elaborate until the end because I'm not going to make myself look like a fool if it is real, but I say not real.
Okay, true. I was gonna say not real too, but I almost want to say real just so that we can get the climactic finish of me losing. You know what? Actually, why not? I'm gonna say it's real. I'm gonna say it's real, and if I ever have kids, I want to
Okay,
take
so
them
after we hear the
jetpack
answer, if I am right with not real, then I will describe what my reasoning.
Okay.
All right. Any more talking amongst the two?
I don't think so. I explain my
right.
reasoning.
The Buddy Pack is, of course, the jetpack from Spy Kids.
Yes! Yes! You said Cortez, and I go, nope, that's the family from Spy Kids.
That's why I included it, because there's not much. I wrote this even in
I
my
was a
outline.
Spy Kid's head. You ain't getting that one past me. But I didn't want to be overconfident, because if you're like, no, it is very real, I would be like, oh.
Cortez isn't a real name.
There's some people named
No one's
Cortez.
named Cortez.
So I looked this up, and I remembered specifically, kind of like Lexi.
I remember
but
what it
there's
looked
just
like.
not much at all information. I assumed the Spy Kids universe would have a lot of lore, but it's literally just a sentence that's like, it's a metallic jetpack that looks like a robot. It's used by the Cortez and made by, again, Isidore Cortez, also known as Machete.
Machete.
Yes.
Yep.
It's Machete.
Yeah,
but it's
and
just a jetpack for kids and adults.
Danny Trejo is Machete.
Who's also Machete, yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, Eric, you cannot win now, but still, we're
I'm
gonna keep
so
going,
sorry,
though.
Eric. That one was you were done so dirty on that one, because
No, I am good with that. That was funny. That was
All right, I'm gonna go to 7, as I said, because these are just too fun. So here's number 6: an electric shock ring. The electroshock ring is just as it sounds, a small signet-like ring that the user can use as a stun-like weapon against attackers. When activated and pressed against another individual, can deliver a taser-like shot through small fuel cells located along the ring itself, capable of administering a jolt of electricity directly from the user to the target with the simple contact of the signet side of the ring to an individual. The electric shock ring, unlike most signet rings, is worn on the dominant hand, as if you plan to use the ring, you're more than likely going to deliver a punch with your dominant hand.
All right.
I'll go first, even though I'm not very confident on this one. I'm gonna say not real, just because, again, this feels like maybe there could be a lot of user error on this one.
Just walk up and touch somebody and fry them.
And also because I feel like this just sounds like some, either superhero movie type thing or something out of Austin Powers. So I'm going to say not real, but I'm not 100%.
All right.
I'm gonna mooch off Lexi's success a bit. I'm gonna say not real as well. Because I do half because I do want to half because I try and want to get at least 1 point in this, but also half because kind of like what Lexi said, I feel like it could be way too easy to shock yourself. Imagine going up to someone and then giving them a handshake and then they just have a heart attack.
You shock the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Imagine Bond against Lashif, going, hey man, and shakes his hand.
I don't see the practicality in it.
Yeah. All right. You all are both correct. The electric shock ring is a false spy gadget that was created for the film franchise Kingsman: The Secret Service.
Oh, neat.
The fact that a single ring could deliver enough power to perform a non-lethal as well as a lethal electrocution on someone is just wild.
Yeah, because the user would there's no way. I mean, y'all are punching. You're connected. If you're
I also have no hand-eye coordination, so if I wore that, then it'd be over.
Yeah, if you're administering a lethal shock to somebody else, you're gonna get shocked too. It doesn't that don't discriminate.
No.
So
yeah.
I also wrote
never
in my
seen
notes,
Kingsman, so didn't know that.
No, that's good. But I wrote in my outline here in my notes, I don't know how every person that a Kingsman punches isn't dead, as it clearly states that this is a lethal shock on the Kingsman wiki. So
yeah, their heart would be stopped.
But I learned from
quite a few problems.
Yeah, absolutely. I learned from doing research for this episode that apparently signet rings are typically worn on a man's non-dominant pinky ring, usually the left hand, which is weird because in America, and I don't know about Canada, but I can only assume, men typically wear their wedding band on their left hand compared to other countries like Germany. So if you're so inclined to wear a signet ring in the States, you might be wearing 2 rings on one hand and then none on the other one, which just feels weird.
Yeah.
But just another quick fun fact for you guys. But a very unfun fact, don't do a Google search for electric shock ring, as you will get a very different result than what I personally expected. But hey, you do you. Is what I wrote here.
Damn. All right.
We'll not be doing that.
Eric, put it up on I'm just don't. Please don't.
No.
All right. I believe the score is now 5-1. This is for not all the marbles. Finally, the last gadget is BOLT, B-O-L-T. Not the Disney film, but it stands for Broad Operational Language Translation. Would either of you like to guess as to what that is before I explain it this time?
I mean, it sounds like what's on the tin. It's like, I imagine it's some kind of like language translate. I mean, isn't that the kind of thing that they wanted to shove in Google Glass at some point where it just translates things? Like,
yeah, wouldn't it?
But if it's broad, then I guess, I don't know. The broad is throwing me off.
Yeah, I agree with that.
BOLT is a universal language translator program that allows 2 people to seamlessly speak, text, and write to one another in real time without the need for a third party. Countries, specifically the US, need the ability to understand communication from multiple sources without having to have an expert on every language for written word or spoken language. BOLT specifically has the capability of understanding slang and dialects from all over that would otherwise be considered impossible for most language models to understand. That's where BOLT comes in.
Oh, okay. Honestly,
this is a tough one.
It is a tough one. I am inclined to say real. Because in my experience, like from what I can understand, I know that like language translation systems and like other like large language models type beats, they're getting better pretty quickly at understanding like context of messages. Like, you know how like Google Translate in the last decade was just terrible because it couldn't tell like like when you say a word and didn't know like what the word really meant in the context of the whole sentence. That problem is like, it's not gone, but it's like heavily like downplayed.
It's much
better, easier to go around. Yeah, so it's not out of the question that like, you know, more forward-thinking technology that's like 10 years ahead of what we have now could do stuff like that, could nail down context and nail down communications between parties like that in real time.
All right, and Lexi?
Brothers in Arms. I'm going to go with what Rick said, and I'm going to say real also. The only thing that's throwing me is, I agree 100% with what he just said. It depends on when this was supposedly around or made. Because if this was like a legitimate like Cold War era gadget, I would think that it's fake, because I don't think that they would have had enough access to, like, even let's just say Russia. Like the Russian language, of course they would have had people that spoke that, but this is also like Cold War is really before computing power. So I'm kind of just thinking a little bit too deep on like, I'm going to say real, but I'm not confident, because if it's not been something they've been developing for the last, like, I don't know, 20-ish years or so, then I don't think it's.
Yeah, I probably should have asked about, like, in terms of time span, but whatever. I'm already locked in.
Or Brothers in Arms.
Brothers in Arms. Woo! The brothers are correct. This was originally a fake invention for Star Trek that was named something different, but is now real as it began its development in 2011 to help with the military's need to be able to translate slang, regional dialects, and more without the need for translators from that specific region that might give an unbiased source. But since the public has known about it in 2011, it has had 14 whole years to grow and develop, and like you all said, with language learning models, it's probably even better right now, and who knows about like how far along this is in terms of spies and military-like situations. But
right.
Yeah.
Well, and I also see a very practical use for this. Like a lot of the other ones are truly just like, oh, you want to kill somebody? Okay. But like this one actually isn't just, you know, spy usage. I think you could also use this to negotiate with diplomatic people. If you run into somebody and you want to say, hey, we are from the, you know, like if the United Nations are doing supposed, again, won't get into all that, but peacekeeping missions, and they run into locals and they say, hey, we are with the UN, we are trying to evacuate this area, you would really want to translate that well so that you can communicate with citizens, hey, we are trying to evacuate people here instead of, hey, we are a threat. So
Exactly. Yeah, and like make sure they actually understand the gravity of the situation and what you're trying to say, like
right.
the first time. Yeah,
absolutely. And you guys are going right into what I was going to talk about slightly next, is that this was a program that was developed by DARPA in 2011, as I said. And again, I want to do more of an episode on DARPA, but it's very...
I want to say, what is DARPA? What does that stand for?
DARPA is basically the United States' like research thing with like crazy science experiments that they don't really talk about, but simultaneously they have to talk about. And so like, if you look up like DARPA, they've been around since I think 1958. And they...
Okay, so is this another branch of like ARPA where they created the ARPANET, which became the internet?
DARPA made, I believe, ARPANET, yes.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's not separate, it's a thing.
Yes.
Okay.
But they do crazy, crazy stuff now, such as, like, for example, I just literally looked up DARPA projects, and one of them is called Project Celestial, which is developing advanced propulsion systems for interstellar travel. Like, that's...
Whoa.
They just have a lot of crazy stuff. I remember I had up a tab, but I closed it, where they're trying to work on I guess it's microbiology, but specifically when it comes to bacteria, of using a bacteria that they can literally put over almost all surfaces on like a ship to stop from corroding and wearing down metal, and it's still being like perfectly fine. Like they're fully deep science stuff. It's crazy. But
wow, that sounds like stuff out of Superman.
very, very much. Yes.
Wow.
Also, congratulations to Lexi for winning, I believe 6-2. I thought
That's
Camp
okay,
might have had it in
again.
the last half, but no.
I admit that
All right,
was
I will take my 2 points with pride.
that was a losing game because I came in here with I didn't know I had bias, but I had extreme bias. I was a spy kid. Like I loved spies.
Spy Kid.
Like I loved the Spy Kids movies. I loved Kim Possible. I loved Kids Next Door. James Bond as I got older and was able to watch those movies. So that was kind of an unfair. That'd be like if you gave me a music theory quiz or like a music quiz and I like Camp would wipe the floor with me. So
Okay. Next time I'll do specifically a topic that I know Camp will have a lot of knowledge on.
Woo! Yeah, you gotta even it out.
So now that we've started with the game and had a fun time with that, I think it's time to talk about spies in general. Like I mentioned before.
please keep spies in spies chat.
Okay, can you please move it to general? Get it out of general. I mentioned previously that I got this idea from realizing how long things like bugs and hidden microphones and such have been commercially available. And it made me think about how many spy-like gadgets ideas and how long that they've been around. Because like I said, DARPA was introduced and made in 1958, but long before that, there was the Art of War.
Well, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, quite a little bit back.
So, before 1958 was technically, I think, the 5th century BCE. So, hold on, let me double check.
Sun Tzu, Art of War.
Yeah, Sun Tzu, 5th century BC, yes. Not wrong about that one. So, technically, I'm not wrong. Before 1958 was the 5th century BC.
True.
But somehow, so many things come back to the Art of War and the CIA more than on literally anything else that I could think of. But according to the article Intelligence Elsewhere, Spies and Espionage Outside the Anglosphere, which you can apparently get a free PDF of directly from the CIA website again.
All right.
Links down below if you would like to read the entire document. Sun Tzu, back in the 5th century BC, said, and I quote, "One who knows the enemy and knows himself will not be endangered in 100 engagements." End quote. Sun Tzu...
Bars.
Straight up bars. But Sun Tzu then goes on to talk about military tactics involving spies and the different types of spies that we would now have different classifications for. He mentioned the equivalent of the secret informant. Of course, this is all going to be in Chinese, but the secret informant,
Right.
the mole, which are apparently 2 different things, and I didn't even know that, and disinformation agents. And they each played their special roles, with the secret informant being able to provide, you guessed it, secret information. The mole was used as a long-term secret agent whose job is to rise to the ranks slowly over time to get higher and higher up the chain of command until they can be used to either cause harm from the inside or get close enough to someone high up the chain where they can then do damage to that specific person and then like sow deceit in another army, basically. And then disinformation agents, Yes, there was disinformation at campaigns 2,500 years ago. I wrote in my notes.
Yeah.
That would give false information, which would lead armies astray by misreporting soldier counts, scouting reports, etc. And according to that document that, again, you can download directly from the CIA's website, non-American countries still use those tactics in their infiltration and spy games today. But Sun Tzu, surprisingly, wasn't the only BC spy master. By the way, that this section and the next couple are mostly knowledge from Wikipedia specifically on these quick little bursts. I tried to do deeper research on spy history specifically for like ancient spy masters and spy stuff like that. And you either get people who are just crazy and should probably be put in an institution for basically saying that the walls can hear you unless you make your home a Faraday cage, or so chock full of actual spy jargon that I just got lost trying to read it and understand it. And I didn't want to also start accidentally quoting like Tom Clancy novels as though they were real. So just quickly about that.
Oh, gosh.
Makes sense.
Anyway, though, this time in the 4th century BC, there was a guy by the name Chanakya who wrote the Arthashastra in India, which is a 150-chapter exhaustive breakdown and almost page-by-page guide on Indian politics, running a government, keeping the state and rabble happy, and the most important part for us, espionage. If you know about historical literature, imagine The Prince by Machiavelli, but around 1900 years early, and for India, not Europe, basically.
Wow.
Okay.
The Arthashastra had a very strong line running through it of sometimes you have to do some bad things to do good things, and that included using spies. A lot of spies, more than Sun Tzu even said. According to the Pragyata.com, they list 10 separate types of fixed spies for the state to use. And there's more than just fixed spies, as I'll get to shortly. There are wandering spies. But I'm going to real quick just directly read this section from Pragyata.com. It's interesting how many spies were used and all the ways that they were used. According to Kautilya, spies had to be used for 2 reasons: internal policing and war. For this, he classified spies into 2 categories: fixed Shamshta and wanderer Sankara spies. Fixed spies were of 10 types.
That's really interesting. Sorry, I won't go on a tangent, but the word for wandering spies is similar for wandering people that choose like monastic.
Yes, and I'll actually get into that shortly, which is very cool. Spies under the guise of fraudulent disciples / student spies, Kapataka, recluses, Udashista, Udastaitha, I think, householders, Grapatika, merchants.
Your Sanskrit is tough. Sanskrit's tough.
I was going to say, sorry to anyone who speaks the language.
Sorry to any
We're gonna butcher
Sanskrit
it.
Don't apologize for me. I'm
scholars.
just kidding. Merchants, who were the Vaidahaka, ascetics, which again, exactly what you talked about, Lexi. Those were called tapasa, or tapasa maybe. Classmates / colleagues, who were satri, firebrands, tiksna, poisoners, rasada, and mendicant women, which I don't even know what mendicant means off the top of my head right now, but those were biksuki, I don't know, end quote. Even though that, with how much I butchered, that's probably not even a quote. Each of these spies had a specific role in their government that they were paid to then do. And the 10 that I listed weren't even spies that would go to other countries and do like spy stuff. Those are only spies. What, Lexi?
They're all internal.
Those are all internal just throughout like India in general back then.
Yeah.
They were solely used to control and keep peace in their own lands. For example, student spies would report wickedness, apparently. Shop spies would report about expenses within shops to see if illegal activities were going down. Like if they started making large purchases without like selling very much, then they could be investigated through that. Householders would make
so
sure
everybody was just a narc. Like
You're not wrong.
They were a narc in their specific like trade or area of expertise.
Basically. Yes.
That's what I'm gathering.
Wow.
Householders would make sure that the correct amount of taxes were being taken. Merchant spies would determine the quality of goods and compare the quality to the amount of taxes due on these goods. And then ascetic spies, or abstainer spies, as Lexi kind of called out, would report dishonesty and about truth told in the villages. So,
you know, all of these don't sound like terrible things, though. Like, are you really a spy if you're just like making sure that people aren't like overtaxing people or that like the products are good?
Well, that's even, again, like, so you're getting to, and that's what I mentioned earlier about, like, there's a term specifically for, like, it's not Machiavellian, but that's a part of it, of, like, doing bad things for the purpose of good, right? And so, like, having to employ spies who are literally lying and are reporting information to people is technically a bad thing on the surface. But again, if you're like, hey, we don't want to make sure that people aren't just doing illegal activities, like, that's usually considered good, right?
Yeah,
And so,
you
like,
want to make sure people aren't getting screwed over on their
exactly. That's just 5 types of spies that would be used in the villages and around the people. The wandering spies are classified, again, this is taken from pragyata.com, are orphan spies, bravados willing to risk their lives. I don't have the actual Sanskrit words for these ones. Bravados willing to risk their lives, widows, ascetic women, and poisoners. The king would use a mix of these types of spies in other kingdoms and such to turn officers against their rulers, use beautiful women like honeypots, which is, again, another spy term for, like, getting information by being like, ooh, yes, I'll come kiss you, just tell me some secrets, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Poisoners, if you could guess it, would poison officials and more.
What? That's wild.
No.
Poisoners do be poisoning.
That's kind of their job, though. And this was all done and written about, like I said, like this 2,500 years ago, which is crazy to me. The use of spies goes back so long and has had massive success, with Napoleon himself saying that one spy was worth 20,000 men on the battlefield.
Wow.
Yes, that's how, again, I didn't know how crazy this was until I started doing research.
Well, a lot of people died because of Napoleon, so of course he'd feel that way.
Well, there you go. I mean, he also shot artillery, so he probably was like,
yeah,
one shell is probably worth 50 men. Anyway.
Yeah.
But back to Wikipedia after Pragyata. Thank you very much for that. To get some of these quickly, because again, there's a lot of information I found, but I'm just trying to get through it quickly.
Right.
The ancient Egyptians used spies and might have been the first to implement coded messages, trick ink, and hidden compartments within clothes to hide messages that would be transported back and forth.
Oh.
As well as they were very well known for using poison as a tool to its fullest extent and had like a full knowledge of all the poisons that were available to them.
Mm-hmm.
The Hebrews had spies, and spies are even mentioned in the Bible, in the book of Joshua specifically.
Oh, wow.
So if your mom or dad, I love this quote here, I made this up myself. So if your mom or dad ask you what you want to be when you grow up, just tell them you want to be a spy, like in the Bible.
Oh my gosh.
The Greeks and Romans had spies, and even had laws on the book for dealing with spies, which included, but wasn't limited to, torture, confiscation of property, the loss of the right to be buried in Attic soil, which I didn't know, but was apparently a huge dishonor to not be able to be buried in, like, Roman soil, basically, or, like, Greek soil. And, of course, execution for your crimes against the state. But,
right.
Yippee!
Yeah, I know, it's so fun. This is the one that I was really shocked about, but apparently the Mongols had a very successful spy campaign that helped them to easily gather information for attacks and raids. They had such a large network of informants that would help them tell about information about enemy movements, supply lines, and more, that reached all the way from China, of course, in Mongolia as well, all the way down to Hungary. And that's how strong and intricate this spy network was. And according to the medievalists.net, they mentioned that of the 2 historic Mongolia rulers, that the one that we know as Genghis Khan was the more tactile and intelligence-focused leader at the time of the Mongol horde, which helped to give them an advantage over his blood brother, who is much more like, let's just go and kill them with an axe. So it was one of those things where...
That's really interesting, because I always hear about Genghis Khan being very violent and very ruthless. So that's interesting.
He was absolutely ruthless, like crazily.
Yeah.
Like
he was tactfully ruthless.
But that's the thing about it, is like apparently his blood brother was like even more violent and like, let's just go kill every single person, while Genghis Khan was like, well, technically, if we can go get information on this stuff, then we can find the weaknesses in these walls and like be able to take down. Yeah, so it was brains and brawn versus just brawn, basically. Gotta keep moving here. The Mongols weren't the only Asian group to have spies. In feudal Japan, they had the shinobi, or ninja. Not the blue-haired guy, I had to write specifically.
Oh my goodness.
You got my hopes up.
I knew Eric would think of that one or make a joke about it.
Ninja spies. That's awesome.
But apparently ninjas were far less assassins than what pop culture would have you believe, and were much more extremely talented historical spies and like people that would scout out areas. They would
cool.
ascertain building layouts, terrain, get passwords and keys for one clan to then be able to use for another clan. And they would also burn down buildings for sabotage from the inside. And a tactic that I wrote was called arson. I don't know why I had to write it that way.
A tactic called arson, for those who don't know.
That's crazy.
But apparently,
so it was
ninjas
more
were
like Assassin's Creed type.
Well, I mean,
stuff.
Assassin's Creed were straight up assassins of like, I'm gonna just go in here and kill a bunch of guys.
True, but like there's that element of like finding clues, sabotaging things. Like, yes, you go in and just kill people, but like I just thought there was more of an element of
there's a bit for sure in there of correctness of like, yes, these guys weren't just like whoa and like throwing ninja stars and like katanas all over the place and just stabbing 18 people
I
in the
figured
street.
not.
That was much more the samurai were much more like, hey, I'm gonna just go stab some people. Like there was a very brief time, not to do a quick aside, but a quick time in feudal Japan where there was a law on the book that like samurais could just kill somebody in the street like without facing any things by, and they would be like, I was
they were
testing
feudal
the
Japan
strength of
cops.
my blade. What? Oh my gosh!
Sorry, we'll move on.
But their reasoning was like, I'm going to test how good my sword is. So they would just cut somebody down in the street. And that was their excuse, was like, I was testing how good my sword is on a real target, basically. So.
Oh my gosh.
Fun times.
Yeah, it's a field test.
Exactly. But apparently, back to ninjas, apparently ninjas were so rampant in feudal Japan that architects and engineers had to start taking into account ninjas, which I didn't know.
When they were making their buildings?
Yeah.
They're like, we have to ninja-proof this.
Lexi, you're not wrong.
Wow. That's amazing and hilarious.
The buildings would be designed like mazes as to confuse those that didn't know how they worked. They would build specific blind spots or just straight up holes in the walls of the castles for people to keep an eye out. And the craziest ones to me are they made specific floors called nightingale floors, which are floors that would specifically be put in place on loud, squeaky hinges and nails, as to when you stepped on them, it would make a loud noise if an intruder ever stepped on them. So they would train their actual people to like not step on these floors, but to everybody else, like if a ninja broke in, then they would step on them and they'd be like, who's there? And like be able to determine that somebody was there.
Wow.
That's pretty clever, actually.
That's very clever.
I'm going to put this in audio notes, but here is a video of surviving nightingale floors. There's somebody laughing in it, but if you all would like to watch that, you absolutely can and share it with the class.
Let's do it. Damn.
Yeah, they're very loud, which I was not expecting. I was expecting kind of like a tiny
creaking.
little
Those are
squeak.
pretty loud fucking floors.
Yes. Just to share with the people, there is a bit of debate in the history as to whether nightingales were intentional or not, but the castles of Japan these days have fully leaned into the theory that yes, they were made specifically to make a loud noise, because then they're like, why would we have not made them loud? Or why, like, if we had the possibility to make them loud, basically.
Yeah.
But moving on from the ninjas to the Aztecs, as apparently the Aztec had spies, they would use the local businessmen / distribution folks, known as pochtecas, as spies and also as diplomats between groups of people. As you always had traveling businessmen going back and forth, and so they would just be like, hey, go spy on our neighbors over there when you go sell them some corn or something like that. So they would have them do that and like act as like informants / again small diplomats. And the Aztecs were also some of the first to have their use of disguises, where they would have their spies dress up in another group of people's like clothing and garb, and then like follow the local customs and traditions to be able to infiltrate better into a... Yeah, exactly.
Damn, I can't believe they made Hitman a real thing.
Ancient Hitman. Wow.
The next DLC will just be an Aztec temple, yeah.
Right.
Let's go.
Fast forwarding a bit here, because again, these are all very ancient ones, which I think are very cool, but again, that's basically it for the ancient ones. Eventually, the medieval ages come up in Europe, specifically England. The history of spies and spy masters began to sort of speed up and ramp up, as cryptography really started gaining its legs. As I mentioned before, the ancient Egyptians had like codex and stuff like that that would help them like hide a message within these words. But specifically, cryptography really started taking off in the medieval ages for like hiding messages within other messages and stuff like that, so as to not like give the game away that they're about to do sneaky stuff and be sneaky little fellas, as I want to call this episode.
Sneaky little guys.
Sneaky little guys. I'm sorry, sneaky little guys.
Yeah.
Because spies could intercept and forge letters and correspondence, and some of the best spies of the time, or I guess spy masters is kind of what they started to be called, could apparently break the seals, like the wax seals on letters, and repair them without the person receiving the letter knowing that they had been tampered with. Like, that was a very good, like, trait of a good spy master, to be able to, like, okay, let me break this seal, copy the seal, or do whatever they have to do to make sure the seal stays well. If I need to read the message, or if I need to even change the message itself, and then pass that along.
Wow.
Yes, they established ciphers and ways to code even better during this time, and decode letters, the whole spy gambit, basically. And specifically, this came to a head in what I realized might have been one of the biggest changes to history if this had actually succeeded. These spies continued to heat up, specifically with one Sir Francis Walsingham, who established a widespread spy network in England that stopped the Babington plot. This was in 1586. You guys hear about this Babington plot? Y'all know about the Babington plot? What y'all know about the Babington plot?
Nothing.
I don't know Mr. Babington.
You don't know Mr. Babington?
No, isn't Babington the one bear in that animated movie?
Oh, you're thinking of the Family of Bears that's on like PBS, I think?
Oh, yeah.
No,
I
think you're thinking of the bear that doesn't wear pants.
Oh, true. That's like that type of fish with the long nose, right?
Oh, no, I think you're thinking of the squid with the long...
Squid with the long arms. Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm actively losing brain cells. I
lost it at the squid with the long arms. No.
The Babington plot.
Yes, the Babington plot, sorry. It was a plot to get what half of the country believed to be the rightful heir of England back on the throne, which would have been Mary, Queen of the Scots. Because you see, back then, the Catholic Church was pissed at the then Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth I, who was a Protestant. And straight up, Pope Pius V declared Queen Elizabeth a heretic, and that English Catholics had the God-given right to literally overthrow the government, kill the Queen, and put the rightful Catholic Queen on the throne.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Just Catholic tings.
So, what does Queen Elizabeth do after hearing this? Well, she imprisons Mary, Queen of the Scots, for 19 years to stop an uprising. She sets laws in place.
That doesn't sound like a good idea if people are already mad at you.
I was going to say, that's to stop an uprising? That's to...
Hey, it worked for 19 years, okay?
All right.
But besides imprisoning Mary, Queen of the Scots, she also set laws in place that if the Queen is ever killed, those who conspire to have her killed, or who will be like gain power, will then also be killed and executed. So that was, I think, kind of the twofer thing of, well, okay, if y'all want to overthrow the government, you can do it, but you're going to die also, basically. So I don't think people were really willing to do that at the time. But after many years, her spy master, that Sir Francis Walsingham that I mentioned earlier, had uncovered through his network of spies a plot to have Queen Elizabeth assassinated, have the Catholic-backed Spanish invade England at the exact same time as the assassination, overthrow the government, and then put Mary, Queen of the Scots on the throne. And in doing so, England would then switch back to Catholicism, which is crazy that was all like in place, basically. The very specifics are kind of boring and convoluted after that point, involving this guard was used as an agent to get to this other agent, who then agreed to be double agent so they wouldn't die, until basically it just kind of goes on and on. Eventually, it kind of like burns down to this, that Sir Francis allowed a letter to be delivered to Mary, Queen of the Scots, under the guise of someone sympathetic to her cause, who let her know that they were planning an assassination plot, and they had 100 men willing and ready to help her, like, return to her throne, or like to take over the throne. To which, through pieces of correspondence, Mary, Queen of the Scots sent out a letter that was hidden within a beer keg that was then smuggled out of the prison, which then ended up in the hands of a double agent that was working originally for Mary, Queen of the Scots, but that was then turned over by the spy master, Sir Francis, to then uncover the messages that were hidden in it that basically said, quote at the very end, "Let the great plot commence, signed Mary," end quote.
I'm going to need like a flow chart of like every, like that's all the hands that went through, and all the levels of double, triple, quadruple agents that were
That's why I cut it down to just that camp, because it's like so much of it is like, this person here used to be a guard at this place, but then became sympathetic to Mary, Queen of the Scots.
Yeah.
But then after doing that, realized...
Did Queen Elizabeth I get assassinated, or did she make it?
She did not, or else that would have probably changed the entire trajectory of English rule
I
going
figured
forward.
Not.
But after this Sir Francis decoded this message that said, let the great plot commence, there was some more letters back and forth, but that's the main one that was like the smoking gun. Almost immediately after, each and every single person that was part of this plot was horribly killed.
Well, I mean, unfortunate, but not surprising.
No. Half of them were hanged, drawn, and quartered, which is not a fun time. Eric, do you know about, and Lexi, do you know about being hanged, drawn, and quartered?
I do now.
I mean, I know about being hanged. I can imagine what being quartered is.
You're not.
I don't know, drawn.
You're not far off. So hanged, drawn, and quartered, as you said, you were originally hanged, almost to death, but you lived. You were then drawn behind a horse to, like, along the ground. Then you were emasculated, your head cut off, and then you were quartered, like, real messed up. So...
All right.
Head on a spike kind of stuff.
Mega medieval with this.
And then yes, as Lexi said, then they put your head on a spike to deter people from ever going against the government. But in specifically the Babington plot, apparently the hanging, drawing, and quartering was so bad and so heinous that the government and like the people started being like, "Hey, can you not do this? You're just leaving body
This is a little much.
That's a little much, even for us medieval people." That the other half were only, quote, hanged until quite dead. And then after that they were dead, then they were disemboweled and quartered. So they
okay, that's better.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot better.
It's much, much, much better. But Mary, for her major role in the plot, was brought before 46 essentially members of the jury who didn't allow her legal counsel, didn't allow her to review any of the evidence against her, and wasn't allowed to call forth any witnesses in her defense. And she was eventually found guilty of treason and was beheaded on February 8th, 1587. So
God forbid women do anything.
Oh, it was by a woman.
Jesus.
I have a feeling the current queen was probably like, yeah, she guilty.
Exactly.
Wow.
So long story short, there be lots of spies. Just
Yeah.
throughout history.
Spies do be spying.
There do be kind of lots of spies, though. But I did want to talk about some of the more modern spies as well, because these are much more historical and, like I said, medieval times.
1587. I mean, was that the Renaissance technically?
Renaissance. You're gonna make me look it up. Right?
I feel like that was the Renaissance period, but I could be wrong.
Maybe.
Renaissance time. I can run the type. 14th, or so it'd be the 1400s to the 1500s. So technically, yes.
Okay.
But yes, just wanted to talk about that part about. The historical part, but then here are a couple modern spies that I found out that were just really cool. Sadly, or maybe not sadly, there's not much knowledge about like modern day spies, as again, they're probably still alive and doing spy things.
Right. Yeah. Wouldn't want to blow their cover.
Yeah.
So anyway, here's Gerald down the street. He's been a spy for the KGB. And like, no, that's not. That's not how it works. But I have two spies for you here that I'd like to talk about that are very modern. The first one is Oleg Pinkowski, who is a famous double agent during the Cold War who defected to the Americans and the British and gave them news and information about Russian nuclear weapons. It's not very spy games, like not very like gadget intensive. There's a lot more that is spies of like passing along letters and like having things hidden in a pair of glasses and getting all that stuff out. But all the information that Oleg ended up giving to the British and then in turn the Americans basically shined a huge light that the Russians were lying about their nuclear weapons and how many that they had. But then at the exact same time that Russia had put nukes in Cuba ready to nuke America at any moment, basically. So while they might not have as many nuclear weapons, they still got lots of nukes.
They had enough.
Dangerous.
They had enough.
But
one is enough.
Yes, it is. But after they got this information, they verified it by flying a stealth plane over Cuba, which of course led to the 13-day Cuban Missile Crisis, where the world was probably the closest to ending that it's ever been in history.
Yeah, I think didn't they say like it was literally like a matter of seconds?
There are multiple people that say stuff like that like a Russian radar technician basically like had a alarm go off that's like the nukes have been launched, but it just ended up being birds and stuff like that. Like that's probably the most well-known one. But
gotcha.
the Cuban Missile Crisis was just like finger on the trigger, basically. But again, there's not really a way to know how close that got because that's all behind like paperwork and stuff.
Right.
I have a little bit of a question.
Go for it.
And sorry, this is going a little bit too far behind the fourth wall. How long have you been researching this subject? Because I do recall a few months ago when you sent me a meme that was John F. Kennedy, and it said, "She Cuban my missile till I crisis." Was that part of research for this episode, or was that?
I think that's unrelated.
Okay.
That is entirely unrelated, but that's so funny. I started researching
I just
this.
wanted to call out that exists.
A peek behind the veil. I started researching this about a week ago. Had some things come up, and then finished and finished researching Thursday and Friday before we recorded.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
So
Heck yeah. No, sorry, I was just curious about that.
no,
Go on.
you're good. You can leave that in, or you can leave that out. Whatever you want to do. But the Cuban on my missile till she crisis is great. But sadly, Oleg was arrested by the Russian government shortly before the Cuban Missile Crisis and never heard of or seen again. And what happened to him is still a mystery today, as some say he was just immediately executed and cremated, while others say that he was actually a triple agent and returned back to Russia and lived a happy life to then be able to like integrate back into society. But most agree that he was probably just executed and like never talked about again. So
I don't think Russia would be like, "Oh, you were a double agent. It's fine. Just
fine.
Just
Here's a
come
little
back.
slap on the wrist." No,
It's so silly goose. You silly goose.
That's not how they roll. That's not.
right? The KGB was so silly goose pilled, guy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so
gosh.
silly.
But I have to mention the most unique spy I could find, especially by looks alone. Because most spies since the Cold War have usually just been white dudes in suits or like military garb.
Right.
But Margaretha Gertrudia McLeod, or as you may know her, Mata Hari, was a Dutch exotic dancer who was convicted of being a spy for the Germans during World War I. She would use her feminine charm and the fact that she was very attractive to, quote, sleep with high-ranking officials and then use that closest to get dirt or info and pass that along to the Germans.
Wow.
Before
She
all this,
honeypotted all over the place.
exactly. That's why I mentioned honeypots earlier.
Let's go.
But before all the spy business, she was a very successful exotic dancer whose most well-known act was to simply strip off her garments, silks, and robes until she was standing there in front of the crowd in nothing but a gold-plated breastplate, necklace, and headwear. So, yeah, that was apparently like, whoa!
I mean, I'd be down for that. Why not?
Exactly. But the spy story goes like this. Once World War I was in full swing, she found love in a Russian captain who was deployed to the Western Front. And while seeing her lover at the time, she was recruited to spy on the Germans, specifically the Crown Prince of Prussia, shout out to the P's there, using her feminine wiles, and she agreed to it. I think she was offered like 10,000 francs, 40,000 francs, something like that. Just like relatively good amount of money to, hey, go get some info. And I believe it was specifically because if she could like prove that the Prince of Russia was like a playboy and not like, I'm going to be a king one day, then it would discredit the army and demoralize them from like fighting for this playboy who was just going out and like having fun, basically.
Prussia or Russia?
Prussia with a P.
Okay.
She then left the Western Front after agreeing to this, headed to attempt to spy for the French against the Germans, but on the way there ran into trouble and was interrogated by the English, who believed that she was a spy. While being interrogated by the English, she admitted to them that she was spying for the French, which of course upset the English, as she kind of openly admitted to being a spy, but there was not so much that they could do, so they kind of just let her go on her merry way to Spain, which was a neutral country at the time, where she attempted to meet up with the Crown Prince of Prussia by offering up news on France. So again, using info on France to then get closer to the Germans to then get the information back to France. Like, it's a little bit weird with that.
Okay, yeah.
This is, of course, still considered a no-no in the eyes of the French, as she was still giving up information that she's like, hey, here's information from France, which is still considered very negative, as you can attest.
Yeah, but how else are you going to establish trust with somebody and unless you give some dirt?
They just wanted her to go in there and be like, just be an attractive woman, and then you can get to the prince, and then Yeah.
You shake your boobies a little bit and then ask them the questions.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how that works.
That's fine.
It's not how it works, yo. What was that?
Oh no, I was just agreeing.
Oh, okay. And while the news that she mostly gave to the Germans was apparently of absolutely no use, which is crazy to me.
Oh my goodness.
She apparently gave information such as like gossip about like, ooh, I saw these people hanging out in Paris, and like, ooh, this politician was sleeping with this person. Like, that was the type of information
That's
that
funny.
they gave whenever they were expecting like, hey, here's where a bunch of troops are stationed. She's just like, so I
She's
saw
like,
Dave.
listen, troops are going to be troops, but you will
Yes.
not believe what Lady Mary did. Okay.
Exactly. That's exactly
Honestly,
what
oh my
it
god,
was like.
spill.
And just information like that. But apparently that upset the Germans a lot. That they
Oh
were
my
like,
gosh.
ooh, we're going to get this information out of this lady so we could get all this free information. And so a specific German major, I did not write it down, apparently had a message broadcast on a deciphered spy channel, like on one of their spy channels, but that the French had already deciphered and the Germans knew that was deciphered, that basically broadcast a message in a description of Mata Hari and implied that she was now a German spy. Now this, while probably looking really bad, isn't what really got her into trouble. But what really got her into trouble was somewhere along the way, the French War Ministry let her know about 6 agents, like 6 German agents that they knew of. 5 that the French were pretty sure were just straight up German spies, and a 6th one who was implied to be a double agent for France working against Germany. But 2 weeks after being given this information, the 5 agents that were suspected to be German were still alive and well and still operating, but the 6th, who was a double agent, wound up dead. Still circumstantial, as again, he could have been like, I'm a double spy, bam, and they could have just shot him. But that, with all the other information, planted or not, did not look good for her. Eventually, she was arrested and accused of being a German spy, to which she responded saying, quote, and I love this quote, a harlot, yes, but a traitoress, never, end quote.
Girl boss.
I know, it's so good.
Let's go.
You can probably find some images of her that are not extremely risque, but I mean, if you want to throw those up too, you can.
Yeah, sure.
But her interrogator essentially was locked on her guilt from the very beginning and wouldn't allow any other possibilities to her reasons for going in and out of these neutral countries. She had also apparently lied about being a princess, because she was Dutch, but she looked, she had a little bit more olive-toned skin, I believe. And so she lied about being from, like, a different country than, like, a Dutch country, and, like, was lying about that to then make it more, like, mystical that she was, like, this performer that's like, I'm a princess from Arabia, or wherever she ended up saying that it was from. Yes, it's not even that crazy, but she lied about that. So they're like, you're a liar about being a princess. And they also called her scandalous nature out. That, again, she was an exotic dancer and was being scandalous. So, yes, you have to be a spy.
Ooh. Misogyny's gonna misogyny.
Yes. The interrogator also ended up being her prosecutor at trial, who then, of course, threw the book at her and blew this case way out of proportion to make this seem monumental that they had captured this spy that may or may not have led to the death of 50,000 French soldiers. Yeah. While nowadays, most historians believe that Mata Hari was a scapegoat for the failings of the French, both in terms of intelligence, counterintelligence, but also because France was running out of gas by 1917, like they had started, like, possibly started losing the war. As soldiers began deserting and fearing for the worst, they needed a scapegoat to then be able to pin all these failures on of, oh, this woman here is why we lost so many troops and why all of our war things are not going well. Please, yeah, it's all her. She did it. And just at the exact same time, of course, walks a promiscuous woman who they had already knew would do espionage for them. And if that got out, and again, because the English had already known about that, it would look bad for the French too, that she was just walking around being like, I'm a French spy, I'm a French spy. So they just really tried to put a snuff on this fast and loose woman, a seductress who charmed men to her advantage and got what she wanted, end quote. And if you can believe it, there was almost no way that she would win this case, according to her defense lawyer, as he was not allowed to cross-examine witnesses, much like Mary Queen of the Scots, and had to try and fight against the evidence of her guilt being that she was, quote, a woman, end quote. And I wish this was a joke, but it's not. The reason for her being a woman, which makes her inclined to spy, was, quote, she was without scruples, accustomed to making use of men. She is the type of woman who is born to be a spy, end quote.
Wow.
Y'all are really having fun with
that doesn't sound good
The
to hear.
misogyny's gonna misogyny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She, of course, claimed her innocence the entire time, but after her Russian lover, apparently, remember that Russian lover I mentioned earlier?
Oh, yeah.
He was injured in a battle, and he just, like, gave up on basically everything, including her, and declined to help her and to testify at trial, even as a character witness. She apparently fainted and never really recovered and was able to come back from that point. So,
Damn.
as you can guess, she lost the trial and was executed for treason and espionage. On October 15th, 1917, 12 French soldiers lined up, aimed their rifles down range, and Mata Hari blew a kiss at them before she was shot, falling to her knees and collapsing.
Wow.
Honestly,
That takes a
Fire
lot of
way to go
strength.
out.
Yeah.
Oh, it took a lot.
Yeah,
of
that's
strength.
awesome.
News reports after her execution. Yeah, she lost and was executed. By the way, I don't know why I had to write that twice.
Yeah.
Stated that she admitted to being a German spy, but she never actually relented or admitted to that ever. And these headlines were pushed to make France look better and bolster morale at the tail end of the war to end all wars. Thank goodness there's never been a war after this. So,
Phew.
Oh, of course not.
Right.
Phew.
Got it all out of our system at the beginning of the 1900s.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Nobody ended up claiming Mata Hari's body, and her body was donated to science, including her head, which was embalmed at the Museum of Anatomy in Paris, where it was discovered almost 100 years later that at some point between 1917 and 2000 that her head was stolen and was never
What?
found.
Oh my god.
What?
Man, even in death,
Let's
this
go,
woman
dude.
can't catch a break. Come on.
Not at all.
Let a
But in
bitch rest.
Exactly. I think one of the other notes was that not only was her head donated to science, but her entire body was. But they're pretty sure they lost her body almost immediately. But her head was at least preserved for a little bit longer.
So every part, so her body's just gone.
Her body
Like,
and her head are just gone. They don't know where her head
body's just
or her
lost,
body
and then
is.
someone stole her head.
Yeah.
Like that's what happened.
Wow.
But
Oh
in
my
2017, every court document of the case was declassified and released to the public, to which the Mata Hari Foundation asked the French government to exonerate her and declare her not guilty, as even the German government had exonerated her all the way back in 1930. But the French government has not yet still. So,
Well,
Oh my god.
they're not going to
So
admit that
petty.
they flubbed that one.
oh, of course not.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, after all of that, Mata Hari is considered one of the greatest female spies of the 20th
Yeah.
century.
That's
Well,
what it means to gaslight and girl boss.
While
Exactly.
simultaneously possibly never being a spy. So,
Yeah.
or
You know what? Honestly, take the dubs where you can get them. That's the lesson.
I mean, I think it's amazing though that she, when she was pressed, she never admitted that she was a German spy. I'm like, that's
No.
amazing.
Which is a very good tell of a good spy.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like, yeah.
But there are some people that believe that even if she was a spy, again, they're pretty sure she just basically gave away useless information.
Yeah, it
and so
doesn't
even if
seem like she
was-
really knew anything that important, to be honest with
She
you.
was just in it for the love of the game.
Yeah, and the thing that she killed 50,000 or caused the death of 50,000 French troops is almost certainly false. That's basically what
Oh, it's
every
BS.
single source
Yeah.
says.
BS.
Oh.
But at the very least, Mata Hari was very, very memorialized in pop culture. There's a bunch of references to her. You can probably look her
Good.
up on whatever and find it. She's in multiple video games. She was I think she kissed Donald Duck as a Mata Hari duck like stand-in like some
Oh my
like
goodness.
Looney Tunes thing. But yeah,
Donald Duck
she's been
isn't Looney
remembered.
Tunes.
I'm sorry.
You're welcome.
But thank you for fixing that one. And finally, that's the end of Mata Hari. James Bond. I'm just kidding. We're not going to talk about
Oh.
James Bond, but I will
Alexis
leave
hopes
that
up.
one for Lexi to do at some point if she does, because again, she's a
How could you forget James
self-proclaimed
Bond?
spy kid, as she said.
Yeah.
Now I know you probably went into this being like, Where are all the cool spy gadgets Gurdon mentioned in the beginning that started all this off? And like I said, after researching for like 2 days, all I can really tell you is that most modern day spy gadgets are either classified for security reasons, or they're just one form or another of a hidden camera, or like a microphone or a GPS tracker. And there's just page after page of just like, if you just Google spy gadgets or like modern day spy gadgets or real spy gadgets or whatever, it's just, hey, here's a bug you can put in your friend's like smoke detector. Hey, here's this and this. Like, it's not very like fun, and it's just, here's a camera. Oh, here's a battery charger that can also act technically as an antenna if you need to broadcast out whatever thing. Oh, hey, here's a Faraday cage. Like, it's not very fun, but I still wanted to talk at least a little bit about spy gadgets and ended up going down this path instead of going down, here's a path of glasses with a microphone. So instead of just saying that 82 times. So just wanted to start out with cool gadgets, but then end up at the very cool lady who, of course, had a horrible end of her life still.
Yes. She girl boss, she gaslit, but she never gatekept.
True.
Well, that was going to be my closing thought. It kind of actually does relate to James Bond. I was just talking with a coworker a little while ago about how, and this will make sense in a minute, I swear, Amazon has bought the rights to James Bond to be able to make more James Bond films. And this coworker, he asked me, well, what would you want to see as like a fan of these films? What do you think, what direction is Amazon going to... And ultimately, we had a pretty long discussion, but the end of it for me was, I just feel like, of course, espionage, whether it's in a movie or whether it's in real life, has always been about intelligence, right? It's about finding out intel to be able to get your end goal, whatever that is. If that's for an entire country, if that's for, one assassination plot or whatever. And I think that one of the challenges of making a modern day spy movie, like you would set it in current day, is the fact that we have so much access to intelligence as normal people and as like just an average Joe or Jane or
James.
Yeah, or James. Ooh. But like the old James Bond movies very much borrow from the Cold War sort of era, post World War II. And so that is not the world that we live in anymore. So this idea of spy gadgets and all of these things, of course, there are still technologies, like you mentioned, Gurdon, that are classified, that governments are working on, and the average James doesn't know what is going on. But I feel like it's so hard for us to even think about what that could be, because if there are gadgets, so to speak, they're going to look so different from what we have been shown in the past and what we have access to now, like air tags, hidden cameras, things like that, that I'm just like, a lot of it is just hacking, just using computers, using that form of technology. So I just wonder if like the next iteration of spy movies, if they're going to be set in modern day, it's like, oh, we just sit here and hack stuff. And that's not very interesting, in my opinion. It's like in small doses, it's fine. But a whole movie where somebody's just like, I'm hacking these systems, and, to cut my long-winded thing a little bit shorter, we know that a lot of countries do try to actually hack into water supply, supply chain, travel sorts of things, because they know that that's what will actually cause chaos in a country and cause issues. That doesn't really make for a very interesting plot of a movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, as someone who is like, I think of myself as a bit of like a tech realist and like a forward-thinking, like transhumanist person type. But I can also acknowledge it's like, I don't know if that would really work for like a James Bond movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
For those kinds of reasons. Like, it would make sense to have like elements of it, I think. Like, maybe like having like a portable setup to hack shit or whatever. But if you make an entire movie about that, I don't know. I feel like that would be changing the formula too much, and it wouldn't be. You would have to make sure that there's like a lot to keep it engaging and like entertaining the whole time.
I think it's just reflective of like modern day espionage, like real espionage, is kind of boring when you think about it. Like, the information that you get might not be boring, but the ways that it is done is a lot more boring than what you would think.
Yeah, you're very right. And like, I could see them trying to maybe touch on that a little bit, or just like, hey, let's just go as crazy as we can and still try to make their quote tried, and maybe it's not true anymore, formula of like, no, we're gonna fight the big bad guy, but like, instead of like it being some evil Russian guy, it's just like an AI, and like, hey, this AI is trying to take over every government simultaneously.
Oh man, I hope not. That's so sci-fi.
Well, I mean, at this point, we're starting to reach the point where our real life is becoming sci-fi, though.
I know. That's scary. I know.
And you hate sci-fi.
Cyberpunk Bond is the next direction.
Cyberpunk Bond sounds cool.
Anyway, didn't mean to get off topic, but it does link to us talking about like spies and spy gadgets, because all that is to say, of course, the technology is impressive, and there's a lot that's classified that we won't know about for another 50 years. And I'm sure that will be interesting in its own right, but I think it's just very interesting to look at the comparison between movies and what people think spies do versus what they might do on a daily basis. It might be more boring than the average person.
Oh yeah,
True.
It'd probably be a lot more monotonous. Like, definitely.
The entire movie is just James Bond sitting at a computer
Just
trying
waiting.
to convince. He's like, what did this person ever do for you, though? And it's just trying to like social engineer like the entire
He's on
movie.
He's on Reddit. He's on Reddit
Yeah.
trying to Oh my gosh.
But did MI6 ever hurt you directly? No. Like,
I mean,
that's just the
if
whole
you
thing.
go check out the video on Gurdon's channel about Mark and John, there is a little
Self-promo.
MI6 British Secret Service Easter egg. So go check that out.
Whoa. Speaking of self-promotion, thank you for...
Speaking of self-promotion, I'm going to continue to promote Gurdon and Camp over on their Patreons.
So true.
We promise not to spy on you if you go to putinyoursocialsecurity.com and add yourself to the list. So you could just go do that, and that would be really cool. And we don't have to tell anybody. You'll be on the screen at the end of the video, but it'll be our secret. So
Yeah, we can even hide your name and be like, no, this one is... It's
Yeah.
Dave, not big bong hits 82. No, it's Dave.
Exactly. Create your own secret spy agent name when you sign up for the Patreon, so your identity is protected.
And thank you all for sharing, and if you've made it this far, share this with a spy you know. And yeah,
So true.
A sneaky little guy.
Know a spy?
That's the thing.
Share this with
I
someone.
don't know, maybe it's a spy that's bad at their job.
Yeah,
I
share
don't know.
this with somebody who you think is a spy, and if they react like, "Oh my God," then you know, then you got him. So
Or that's even the thing. Even if it's not a full spy, just a sneaky little guy. Like, if you just have
True.
a friend who's just like, kind of like, hey, do you work as a hitman? And you just send them this, and if like you end up dead, then you know that like, oh, yeah,
no, if
yeah,
they're
he was a
bald and
hitman.
they change their disguise, then you'll know they're a hitman. So I spy with my little eye. We're getting the hell out of here.
Whoa! That's us leaving.
It's like, whoa!
Yeah.